Hi, I'm Mike from in3.de, and I just recently saw a video on the Reuleaux triangles, which are interesting shapes that are solids with a constant width when you go directly through them, and they kind of like act like wheels even though they're shaped a bit differently. So I thought about how would I create that in a 3D software. In my case, I'll start with a cone. I'll give that height and 0 top size. I'm going to put that into a defined radius, and I only need like 3 sides at the bottom. And now I would like to make that side the same length as this, and this side. So let's just find out what are the length of the sides. I'll do a snap from here to here. I'm using vertex snap right now. I create a line from here to here. 1 brings me to the subobject vertex. W to move, right click here, and that is on the base on the bottom. In utilities, we have the measure tool that will tell me the length of the spline, which is no surprise, the same as our radius. If I select that one over here, we'll find out that has a length of 34.641. So I can go to an online triangle calculator, and since we are trying to figure out the height, which will then define the length of this area. So we have a triangle going from here down to the center, to this point, up back to this point. We know there's going to be a 90-degree angle at the center. We know the line from here to here is 20. We know this is the length we want to have of that one, or 34.641. So we'll fill in 90 on that one. We know our 20 is here. This is the value I want to have, and to get this value I need the result of the height. So just calculate that one, and I can now copy the result, go back to max, select my cone, and change its height accordingly. I'll have to adjust that a little bit because I have a German system that needs a comma, and now we have an object that seems to look good. Let's give it a check. Create line from here to there, and it has exactly the dimension we want to have. Okay, Alt W, full screen, Control right click. I would like to create a sphere from here to there. Let's make that a little smaller. I want another sphere over here, one over here, another one over there. And I would like to have them all controlled by one input. Usually that would be done by using references, but this workflow doesn't really go well with references. But what I can do, I use the wire parameters. I'm going to wire the object's radius to this radius. Both sides connect. While we're already in the window, I'm also going to wire the segments to each other. Connect. I could now try to search the other objects in here, or I use the last comment function in Max. Whatever I used last can be triggered again by just clicking on this top area. So radius on this one, radius, both sides, connect, segments, both sides, connect, last command, radius to this one, radius, both sides, connect, segments, and connect. Now we can close these 3 windows, and when I now change the radius of this sphere, all of them come along. Same goes if I turn on wireframe overlay about the segments. So we now only need these 4 objects, Alt Q to isolate, and I'll change the radius to something like that, and for us interesting is only the center area. So I'll just do a boolean on top of that one. I'll go for intersect, and I select this one, and this one, and here we already have the shape that we are looking for. And the interesting part on this workflow, I can still go down to my base object, change the diameter of that one, and everything scales along. I can change the amount of segments if I want to have, and as those are Boolean objects, and I would need to work a bit more on the rotation of the objects. I need to rotate the top one so we don't have the center down here. It's all a bit wild and weird. But to make our life easier, I'm just going to go put a retopo modifier on top of that. If I now click 7, I see the amount of vertices and polygons, and we have like 1,800, but I think 1,000 should be enough. I do not need the pre-processed mesh, but I do want to take advantage of the outer edge and the smoothing groups. So I'll compute that one, and instantly I have a very, very beautiful result. I could add another retopo modifier, and even go down to extremely low values, like 100. Pre-process off, compute, and still have a very beautiful mesh. If you want to use the object for 3D printing, you definitely need a bit more polygons. So I'll just add a chamfer modifier. As this one only by default goes for angles above 20 degrees, it fits very perfectly over here. I'll just make that a little more narrow and add a subdivision, in this case a turbo smooth on top of it, and we already have an object that can be sent to a 3D printer and will give you a nice result. That's it.